that banners have been hung from the hall. They read Hind's Hall and Intifada. Hind is a reference to a woman who was killed in Gaza. ما بدنا نخاف. أنا معك يا عمري. أنا معك. أنا معك ليجي حدا ياخذك. إيش يا عمري؟ A woman. A woman. Does that look like a woman to you? I feel like if I'm not constantly reminding you guys that everything that comes out of mainstream media is lies and propaganda, that I'm failing you. Hind Rajab was not a woman. She was a 6-year-old child. Also take note of that sanitizing language that they use. Oh, she was killed. She was just killed. This little girl was left for days with her dead relatives in a car beside her that had been murdered by an IOF airstrike. And then when the Red Crescent went to go rescue her, the ambulance was bombed. This is part of the pattern of our Western media and their dehumanization of Arab people. A little girl is not a little girl. She's a woman. A boy or an unarmed Palestinian man, they're all terrorists. They're all militants. I was thinking about this last night. I watched this documentary that a lot of you guys have told me about on my lives called The Occupation of the American Mind. It's a really good documentary. It came out about 4 years ago, and in it, they talk a lot about this, about how the entire Western media is insane propaganda and how they have systematically lied and lied and lied for decades, and how they have painted what is happening in Palestine in a completely deranged, demented, and dishonest way than what is actually happening there. And how the Israeli lobby works alongside our media in order to propagandize the American mind. If you guys want me to do a recap of like the highlights from that documentary and put it on here or YouTube, I can totally do that. Just let me know if you're interested in that. And now the veil is more being lifted and people are starting to see the truth. But if you turn on any mainstream media outlet, or you look at their social media, they still repeat the same talking points that they've been given by that lobby over and over and over again, and continue to smear the Palestinians, lie about what's happening in Gaza, and do deranged shit like calling a 6-year-old a woman. This was after I saw a segment last night from Chris Cuomo where he was doing deranged fear-mongering propaganda about TikTok and talking about how the reason why those of us who have become pro-Palestine and educated ourselves on what's happening, the reason why we're like this is because there's a nefarious force behind TikTok that's brainwashing us. It might be Iran. And what I found so laughable about his segment was that he was going off about how we're propagandized because of social media and TikTok, while he continues to repeat the same talking points that were written for him, that the same people in the media have been repeating since the 50s. He also asserted without any evidence that the college protests were full of outside agitators. Literally no evidence. Like, he just made it up. But we're supposed to believe him because he's credible. He cares about the facts, Jack, and he's only going to tell you what the facts are, well, unless and until it comes to the college protests, and then he's just going to make shit up. I couldn't help when I was watching The Occupation of the American Mind being so resentful of our own media and the lies that they've systematically told us for decades, because it was really good. And there's a lot of things that happen that they talk about in that documentary from 4 years ago that are very, very relevant to what's happening today. What they fail to understand is that it's not some dark, shadowy force in Iran that's propagandizing us and brainwashing us. They think it must be an outside, foreign, nefarious force that's making people change their minds. You're right, Chris and Kasie. It couldn't be that we've seen a genocide on our own screens. In the past, other assaults on Gaza were not all over social media. We didn't see a genocide on our screens the way we've seen it this time. That's what's changed. And they know that. That's why they want to ban the app. They don't want the slaughter of the Palestinians to stop. They just don't want us to be able to see it anymore. But our trash media doesn't want to acknowledge or reckon with that. Instead, they just want to accuse us of all being lemmings who are being propagandized by Iran or some shit. Do not trust anything that's coming out of our corporate media, our mainstream media. And I don't just mean that's on TV or cable. I mean the way that they spread it on platforms, social media platforms like Twitter and YouTube, the way that they do it in print. Don't believe anything, because they have a vested interest in making sure that they smear and lie about the college protests, that they smear and lie about everybody that's in Gaza and about the genocide that's been happening for the last 7 months. So you will not be getting any accurate information from them.